it was like nerve-wracking, and that doesn't excuse my actions. Absolutely should have stopped, and I regret that every day. You understand?
And I appreciated you, apologizing in your opening statement. Very short statement, but I appreciate that you apologize to the victim and you understand this, and I guess that you do understand the severity of the situation now. But I mean, there was blood on the windshield. It was, I'm just having a hard time with, figuring out why you didn't stop.
Stamford police have arrested a young woman for a deadly pedestrian hit-and-run crash downtown. Police say the suspect not only fled the scene, but took measures to escape arrest. News 12 Connecticut's Marissa Alter reports from her arraignment.
Line 3 on the arraignment docket, Jaliyah Perez.
20-year-old Jaliyah Perez went before a judge on charges including misconduct with a motor vehicle and felony evading responsibility. Perez turned herself in to Stamford police Monday night in connection with a crash that killed a man walking downtown. It happened April 13th around 8 in the evening.
Pedestrian was crossing northbound across Tresser Boulevard at Washington going towards the government center, was struck by a vehicle that was traveling westbound on Tresser Boulevard.
Police say Perez was the driver and fled the scene, dumping her car and removing the license plates.
There was an absolute intent to not get caught in this situation, 100%. There was no way she did not know she hit somebody.
52-year-old Ronald Molina from Stamford suffered a serious head injury and later died at the hospital. Police say a traffic camera captured what happened. Perez had a green light, but Molina was in the crosswalk, which granted him right of way.
We know she did see him briefly. She did hit the brakes of what it looks like maybe an attempt to stop, but she was definitely going too fast.
The speed limit here is 30 miles per hour, but Perez's arrest warrant shows investigators estimate she was going 44 miles per hour. They concluded had she been going the speed limit, the crash wouldn't have happened or would have been way less severe.
That intersection is very well lit. It's right by the government center. There's streetlights everywhere.
Sergeant Jeffrey Booth says a witness got Perez's license plate, which police ran through the city's newly installed plate reader system. It determined the car they were looking for was a gray Acura. Officers later found it abandoned with damage to the windshield.
On video again, she's seen removing the license plates. And then another car comes and picks her up and takes her away from the location. Clear indication, Your Honor, this is not your simple evading where somebody bumps somebody in a parking lot, doesn't realize they hit them and drive away.
The judge agreed, setting bond at $200,000. In Stamford, Marissa Alter, News 12, Connecticut.
Now we are about to watch the parole hearing of this woman who only just recently ran over and killed a father of 3, left the scene before being arrested, and then subsequently sentenced. It was 7/25/2022, the arrest date, 7/10/2023, the date of sentence, and now, just it seems like a minute later, 6/21/2024, up for parole. Now, she was facing a maximum of 4 years, but while you're watching this parole hearing, I would just ask you to take a moment and think, how would you act if you had taken a life? What would you say to the parole board if you had taken away a father of 3 children from this world? How remorseful do you think you would be? Then settle in and watch this parole hearing. I'll share my thoughts about it at the end.
Hi.
Good morning.
What is your name?
Jaliyah Perez.
Oh, okay. So before we begin, I just wanted to ask you what name you prefer to use and what pronoun.
She, her, Jaliyah Perez is fine.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Thanks for asking.
All right, good morning. My name is Parole Officer Boyce. Today is Friday. Connecticut Court of Pardons and Parole. Following board members are present this morning by stating their names on the record, certified they have reviewed all statutorily required documents and available for information for preparation of this hearing.
Good morning. I'm Jennifer Zaccanini.
Good morning, Deborah Smith-Palmieri.
Good morning, Councilmember Rodriguez.
Can you please state?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Can you please state your name and inmate number for the record?
Jaliyah Perez 440954.
Thank you. This hearing is being conducted in consideration of parole application for Jaliyah Perez in number 440954. She is serving a sentence of 10 years suspended, 3 to 5 years probation for tampering with evidence and evading responsibility. As of today, records reflecting parole eligibility of July 3rd, 24. There's no case. The defendant found that the plan in review shows she went to school, not to do any of the programs. Utilizing the women's risk needs assessment more, the offender's overall score for recidivating falls within the low range. Ms. Perez, this is your opportunity to tell the board why you believe you should be granted parole. You may begin.
So I want to start by saying, I don't know who's watching, but I want to apologize for the situation and the night. I'm truly sorry, and I hope the family could hear me. I have never got the chance to say I'm sorry for that night. I never meant to hurt anybody, and if I could go back and fix everything, I absolutely would. I made a tragic mistake. It was a terrible accident, and I just want the people who are watching, if they are watching, to know that I apologize and I'm sorry.
All right. Thank you for your statement. We're going to ask you some questions, okay? Then we'll deliberate and give you our decision.
Okay.
We'll begin with Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ms. Perez, this is, I just, reading this, I just couldn't figure it out. You hit something, you didn't know what you hit, but you took off. I'm just trying to get my head to wrap around that. Because I've hit a bump in the road, a pothole, and I've had to stop to check my tire to make sure my tire is okay. So I'm not sure why you consider not stopping.
So that was honestly my worst mistake that I've ever made in my life. Initially, I was coming from work and I was going to my grandmother's house. I was caring for her, and I was on my way to make a right turn. And I'm gonna be honest, I was looking towards the right. I wasn't looking straight. I knew I was accelerating on a green light, so I looked to the right, and that's when I came in contact with the victim. But I wasn't looking at I didn't purposely mean to hurt or intent. And when that situation did happen, I panicked, and the car was kind of, out of control a bit. So I had my eyes closed. I didn't see the person and hit the person and intentionally, keep going. So when I was looking off to the right, I went to do the right turn. I stopped the vehicle, and I was panicking. I was really nervous. I didn't intend to hit that person. You understand? So when the whole situation had happened, it was nerve-wracking, and that doesn't excuse my actions. I absolutely should have stopped, and I regret that every day. You understand?
And I appreciated you, apologizing in your opening statement. Very short statement, but I appreciate that you apologize to the victim and you understand this, and I guess since you do understand the severity of the situation now, but there was blood on the windshield. It was, I'm just having a hard time with, figuring out why you didn't stop. And that you took off. Because you have no other criminal history. You haven't done anything else. You're young. You're very young.
In that moment, I could say I was nervous. I was confused. I've never been in a predicament like that. You understand? So
yeah, sure.
When the situation happened, I closed my eyes, you understand? And my vehicle was slightly out of control. When I made the right turn, I did stop. I proceeded to stop. But I was nervous of, what happened. I was just scared, I was scared in that moment.
You were scared and you made a bad choice to leave.
Yeah, I was, yes.
That makes more sense. Yeah.
And so you had some programming that was set up, right? But I didn't see that you've taken any of your programming.
My counselor had gave me my OAP, and he gave me the list of the things, the job and the voices, and he told me that they were not mandatory, but I told them that I want to take those groups, but they told me that there are people who are mandatory who are above me, who have to go before me. I did involuntary groups as in Standing Strong, anger management, other groups, but the ones on my OAP, my counselor informed me that I wasn't on the top of the list because they weren't mandated. They weren't mandatory for me. I told them that I wanted to take the groups, but he said I wasn't at the top of the list to take the groups because I wasn't, I guess, mandatory. This is what my counselor told me, because I asked a lot of questions when they gave me, my information and stuff. This is my first time being in jail, so I asked a lot of questions.
Yeah. Yeah, but this programs would have been probably very good for you, especially since one of the issues that we talked about was you made poor choice to leave and go, and good intentions, bad choices probably would have been a very good program for you to have gone to as well.
I do understand that, but I can say that I've grown a lot and I've learned a lot being in jail for this amount of time at a young age.
Share that with us. Share that with us what you've learned.
First of all, I've learned that life and being free, having my freedom is an opportunity and it's a blessing. That's for starters. Secondly, I've grown as a person. I've grown better as a person to control my emotions more better. And I've grown in aspects as in I'm the bigger person in situations. I just feel like I've mentally grown and I'm more mature now, you understand? Compared to when I first came into the jail. I've grown within and I've helped a lot of people in the jail as well, you know, who've been around me. And I feel like I'm at a whole nother level now. Like I did a lot of self-reflecting. I understand your perspective about me doing those groups, but I've took this crucial time, and I've used it to my advantage, and I've became mentally different. I'm just different. I'm more advanced now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I am hearing some growth from you. But let's talk a little bit about your 4 disciplinary reports.
Okay.
The most recent one being in January.
Okay.
What was up with that? What's up with those?
So what was it?
The disciplinary reports that you got.
Tickets.
Fighting, tickets.
Okay, so that fighting ticket was before I got sentenced. I was inside the school, and I wasn't wanting to fight. They were fighting on me, but I did not want to fight. I don't want problems. I'm not a harmful person. I'm not a violent person. That was the only ticket that was, you could say, violent, but I wasn't an aggressor. I wasn't. The other ticket were out of place, right? Correct. Yeah. And malingering.
Yeah, that was the most recent one in January.
Yeah.
Yeah, malingering is when you're like walking slow. So like I did get a ticket for that, and then out of place, I got a ticket in the school. But on my behalf, I'm not trying to make excuses, but so we're supposed to sit in a section, and the section was full. So I asked one CO if I could sit on the other section. He said, yeah, but the other CO didn't know that CO gave me permission to sit in that section. So he considered me out of place because we're supposed to sit with our housing unit. But all the chairs were full in the school in my housing unit. So that was my most recent disciplinary ticket.
Okay. All right. So let's talk a little bit about then your relapse plan, your plan when you come out. What is it? What are your plans when you come out? Because like I said, you didn't take a lot of programming. So what is it you plan to do? You don't have a job lined up, right?
No, I do. I'm ready. If you guys give me this opportunity, I understand this is a privilege. I'm gonna go home. I want to live with my mom. She lives in New York City. That's where I originally lived. This is where I was born and raised. I came to Connecticut. I was caring for my grandma during COVID timing. That's how I became in Connecticut. I was caring for my grandma, but I would like to go back to live with my mom in New York City. My mom, she's a manager of a cafe that I would like to, get into that. Or I have a sister. She works in a company, Apple. She wants me to work with her or with my mom. I want to stay close by my family in New York City.
We had your aunt listed as your sponsor.
No,
Yeah.
father.
No, my mom was my first sponsor. My mom, her name's, you got it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and me personally, like when I go home, I want to do like community service things, like that I want to do community service that I want to do, not like that's mandatory to me. Like I just want to give back because after this experience, I just look at life different now. Like, like I just want to be better. I want to be different. I want to do things differently. So I want to go back to New York City where I was born and raised. I have family out here. Like I said, I was out here. I was caring for my grandma. She was sick with the coronavirus during that time when I got arrested. So that's why I was initially out here. But I would like to go back there. And, I want to go to college as well. I want to go to college for information technology. I want to succeed. I just want to do better now. I was never a violent, harmful person. I went to college before, but like, I'm just different now. You understand?
I appreciate it. I appreciate you answering my question this morning. Okay. Listen, the
I
best
think-
of luck to you.
Thank you for your time as well.
Thank you. Ms. Palmieri?
I have no questions. Like Ms. Perez, he did really well answering Mr.
Yeah.
Rodriguez's questions, and you have no criminal record, and I do hope that you go back to school, regardless of
Yeah.
what happens today. You're very articulate and you express
Thank
yourself
you.
well.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wish you would have taken some programs, to be honest, and stayed out of trouble. That would have made this an easier decision. Someone did lose their life, and there's always work to be done, Ms. Perez. So, get involved in any programs that you can. And, rules are a very big part of being successful, right? We all follow rules. And, once you can do that very carefully, I think life will be easier for you. Give us a few minutes to discuss your case. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Finish your sentence. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah, I do understand that. I'm well aware of that now. I am following the rules. In here rules are slightly different, and that's not an excuse, but
It is an
it's-
excuse. And I'm going to tell you that we're going to see 7 people here today who have 0 disciplinary reports. So if they can do it, you can too.
I understand. And I hope that doesn't, derail you from my character and my person. I'm really not a harmful person. I'm not a violent person, and I want that to be known, and I want it to be known that if you do give me this opportunity, I will take it, and I will be 100% grateful, and you will not have to see me here again, and you won't have to worry about hearing my name ever again.
All right. Give us a few minutes. We'll get back to you short with our decision.
Okay.
Mr.
thank you.
Rodriguez?
Madam Chair, this was a tragic
Yeah.
accident, leaving deceased. And he was very young. I mean, Ms. Taylor was very young. Ms. Perez very young in this particular situation. And was very articulate today, and
Yeah.
really had a way of, being able to kind of describe what she's been doing and what's been going
Yeah.
on with her in the facility, and kind of the way she's been looking at life, which sounds very different and very mature for a 22-year-old. I am concerned that she didn't take any programming. The program she didn't get to take the programming. I would have thought some of it would have been very good for her, but I would be willing to grant discretionary parole,
Thank you.
which would be when
July.
in July.
Okay. Ms. Palmieri is your name. Yeah.
Yes, so I am also willing to grant today. I do hear change. I do hear some growth. It goes beyond poor decision making.
Yeah.
The offense itself, but I do see that Ms. Perez is 20 years old when the offense occurred. I do think it would have been great if she could have taken good intentions, bad choices. I think she gets the idea of what voices would have helped her with. She definitely expressed her remorse and apology.
Mhm.
And I do hope that she's starting to appreciate that there are rules, regardless of whether you agree with them or not. Because her last disciplinary report was over a year ago. So
Mhm.
there is some growth in that respect as well.
Yeah.
So I would be willing to grant it.
Thank you. All right. In the matter of, what is your first name? Jaliyah?
Yes.
Yeah. Jaliyah Perez, MA number 440954. I'll make a motion to grant parole effective July 3rd, 2024 with the following conditions. You'll parole to interstate for New York. Halfway house placement if it's necessary. No driving without the parole officer's permission. Mental health evaluation and treatment is deemed necessary. Is there anything else?
Not for me.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right. We wish you the best. Do you understand?
I'm confused. Did I make it?
Yes. I made a motion
Thank
to
you.
grant parole July 3rd.
Thank you so
All
much.
right.
I appreciate it. Have a great day. Thank
Keep
you.
working on yourself.
Thank you.
And as you can see, they granted parole. And I'll tell you what, like, it doesn't make any sense. But like, well, she was very articulate. It's like, what do you mean? What, you expect her to be like as dumb as a doornail? You get brownie points because you're able to somewhat articulate a point. They should have called her out on what I believe were lies about her not being able to get into her programs because they're saying, oh, no, you didn't have to do it because you had a short amount of time. Because we see it over and over and over again. women with the same length sentences, they finish all of their programs. We just had a parole hearing of a woman, same situation as her, actually, hit and run, killed someone, left the scene, was caught, and she did every program in the book. Maybe you saw the parole hearing. I'll try to remember to put a link to it in the description. And they just let her get away with it. Just let her get away with it. Be like, yeah, I never did it. And then second, let me hear my thing. No one's saying that you're a violent person. No one's saying that you have a long felony. You're young. You're 22 years old. But you you left the scene of the accident. Now here you are at your parole hearing, and you basically spit out a few words with no feelings, with no empathy. I want to apologize for the situation. I'm truly sorry. I never meant to hurt anyone. I could take it back. I would. I am truly sorry. I made a tragic mistake. It was an accident, and I want them to know I'm sorry. You killed someone. You killed a father of 3. He has parents, siblings, friends. That's how you take it. That's what you would say. Imagine if you had run over a puppy and now you had to get in front of the owners and say that you were sorry about killing the puppy. I know me, I would have more emotion. Forget a puppy, even the squirrel that I run over. Like, these are things that you feel about. It haunts you. It eats away at you. You would cry. You would say his name. She literally talks about it like it's nothing. There's nothing there. And that's the thing with these things. It always blows my mind as to, look, accidents do happen. I'm surprised you don't see it more often where someone's making a right-hand turn. She had a green light. He had the crosswalk. She hit him. She killed him. You know, you would think that you'd see these things happening more often, but what you don't expect to see is someone showing nothing. She's not even trying to fake it, which I don't want to say, like, maybe, you just give her credit for not trying to fake it, but she's not even trying to fake it. And you might say, well, where are the victims? Where are the kids? Where are the people? It doesn't mean that they don't care. It could be that they were never notified. We see it time and time and time again. Connecticut, actually all the states we cover, they do a horrible job, or maybe just a subpar or a mediocre job. We see all the time where the victims come later on and say, we were never notified. I had someone contact me from a Louisiana parole hearing and say, and this guy's an advocate. This guy he runs groups about survivor groups. And he said he could not believe that he was not notified by Louisiana that his perpetrator was having a parole hearing. And we see it quite often. So no, they probably weren't notified. And you might say, well, again, look, first of all, I believe when people run and take away their license plate and it's all like that, I believe that there was probably something that they were hiding. Maybe they were intoxicated. Maybe they were on the devil's lettuce. There's no proof, of course, and she's not convicted for that. But that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that it wasn't panic. It's that they had to hide. And what we've learned from these parole hearings is that if you're drunk, it might be the best move for you to get away for that day, because you're going to get a lesser charge. It's possible that you'll get a lesser charge. At least that's what we see. Again, this is not legal advice. Of course, that would be an insane thing to do. You need to do the right thing. The right thing is to go and see the person that you hit and see if you can save a life. Maybe you can call 911 and get help there faster. Maybe you can give CPR, because that's what someone does if they actually care about the sanctity of life. I don't know why the parole board just gave her a slap on the back. You're doing great. And it was even like, when he was interviewing her, I don't understand. How did you not? It was Rodriguez, not Paul. Like, Paul's a clown. It was Rodriguez. I like Rodriguez. But he said, I don't know what happened exactly. You hit something and you took off. There's blood all over your windshield. I would have loved to know when she had told the interviewer the words that she used when she told the parole interviewer how the accident happened. But imagine if someone does lie at their parole hearing and they are intoxicated, and here they are putting on a show. I was scared and I left. You were so scared, then you took your license plate off and you got a ride out of there. I have no additional information on this case to talk about what happened to the person who gave her a ride, or how long. They tracked it down pretty quickly, because of the pictures. And if she was sober and if she had stayed at the scene of the accident, I imagine she would have gotten probation. 15 miles over the speed limit, making a right-hand turn for a new driver. It's not something to put you in prison for, but you run away, you do the whole evading thing. Yeah, she got a prison sentence. And we may never see her again, you know? But what never gets old to me is just the way that so many show up to these parole hearings that seem to have no care in the world for the crime that they did. No emotions, no tear, no personal trauma. And before I forget the last thing, when they ask her at the beginning, what's your preferred pronoun? And I just, it only hit me. I'm only laughing because it's like there's a certain question. You never ask someone, are you pregnant? You know, they have a belly. It's just, you side on the side. You take the side of caution. You don't ask someone if they're pregnant. But I never thought about this. Asking someone, what's your preferred pronoun? It's like, what? I mean, what I would think is like, what? Do I like that? Do I look like I'm not my preferred? What? Why are you asking me that? I mean, how embarrassing. Okay, but she said thank you. Anyways.
It was like nerve-wracking, and that doesn't excuse my actions. I absolutely should have stopped, and I regret that every day. You understand?
And I appreciated you, apologizing in your opening statement. Very short statement, but I appreciate you apologize to the victim and you understand this, and I guess since you do understand the severity of the situation now, but I mean, there was blood on the windshield. It was, I'm just having a hard time with, figuring out why you didn't stop.